I stood in my parents' kitchen doorway and watched my mother place a full plate in front of my nephew. Then I watched her skip over my sons entirely. They sat at the table, quiet, small, waiting. She moved past them like they weren't there. My sister didn't look up. My father read the paper, and my boys, 7 and 9 years old, just stared at the empty space in front of them. I felt something crack inside me. Not loud, not sudden, just a slow, cold break that had been coming for years. I didn't say anything, not then. I walked over, took both my sons by the hand, and we left. No explanation, no scene. We just walked out. In the car, my youngest asked if Grandma forgot. I told him she didn't forget. He nodded. He already knew. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing that moment. The plate, the silence, the way no one even blinked. And I realized this wasn't new. This was the same pattern I grew up in. I was always the one who gave. My sister was always the one who received. I worked 2 jobs in college. She got an apartment paid for. I sent money home every month for years. She never contributed a cent. When they needed help with bills, they called me. When they wanted to celebrate something, they called her. I funded my father's medical expenses. I co-signed loans. I covered emergency repairs, overdue taxes, family trips I wasn't even invited on. And I did it because I thought that's what family meant. I thought if I gave enough, I'd finally be seen. But I wasn't seen. I was used. And now they were doing it to my children. I sat at my kitchen table that night with my laptop open. My husband Daniel sat across from me. He didn't say anything at first. He just waited. Then, I started pulling up records. Bank transfers, Venmo receipts, loan documents, paid invoices, years of them. I went back 5 years, then 7, then 10. The numbers climbed. 15,000 one year, 22 the next, 34,000 the year after that. Insurance premiums, I paid for them. Car payments, credit card debt, mortgage help, groceries, utilities. I added it up 3 times because I didn't believe it. Over $900,000. Daniel leaned back in his chair. You've given them almost $1 million. I stared at the screen, and they wouldn't feed my kids. He reached across the table and held my hand. So what do you want to do? I closed the laptop. I want to stop. The next morning, I started making calls. First, I removed myself as the co-signer on my parents' car loan. Then I called the insurance company and canceled the policy I'd been paying for under my name. I logged into every automatic payment I'd set up over the years and deleted them. Phone bill, streaming services, my father's medication subscriptions, my sister's gym membership. One by one, I turned them off. I wasn't angry. I wasn't crying. I was calm. For the first time in my life, I was thinking clearly. I called my accountant and had him draft a formal cessation letter. It stated that effective immediately, I would no longer be providing financial support of any kind. All previous obligations were cleared. No further payments would be made. I sent copies to my parents and my sister. Then I blocked their numbers. Not out of rage, out of protection. Daniel asked me if I was sure. I told him I'd never been more sure of anything. That afternoon, I picked my boys up from school. We went to the park. We got ice cream. We sat on the swings, and I asked them how they felt at Grandma's house. My oldest said, like we're not supposed to be there. My youngest said, like we're in the way. I held them both close, and I told them the truth. You're not in the way. You're not less than anyone, and we're not going back. They didn't ask why. They just hugged me tighter. That night, Daniel and I sat on the balcony of our penthouse. The city stretched out below us. Quiet. Glittering. We'd worked hard for this life. I built my career from nothing. I graduated top of my class with no family at the ceremony. I earned every promotion, every bonus, every square foot of this home. And I did it while sending half my income to people who never once said thank you. Daniel poured 2 glasses of wine. "They're going to call," he said. "I know." "They're going to say you're cruel." "I know." He looked at me. "Are you ready for that?" I took a sip. I'm ready to be free. 3 days later, the calls started. I didn't answer, but I saw them. 12 calls from my mother, 8 from my father, 19 from my sister. Then the voicemails began. My mother's voice was shaking. "Ava, I don't know what's going on. The insurance canceled. The car payment bounced. Please call me back." My father's message was shorter. "Call us. Now." My sister's was the loudest. "What the hell is wrong with you? You can't just cut people off like this. We're family. Call me back right now." I deleted every single one. Daniel watched me from the couch. "You okay?" I nodded. "I'm fine." And I was. I felt lighter than I had in years. That weekend, I took my boys to the Science Museum. We spent the whole day there. We built rockets, we watched the planetarium show, we ate overpriced pizza in the cafeteria and didn't care. My youngest laughed so hard he snorted. My oldest held my hand the entire time. On the way home, he said, "This was the best day ever." I smiled. We're going to have a lot more of these. Because I wasn't sending $5,000 a month to people who didn't see me anymore. I was spending it on my sons. 2 weeks passed. The calls stopped. Then the emails started. My mother wrote first. "Ava, I don't understand why you're doing this. We're your parents. We raised you. We sacrificed for you. You owe us more than this. Please reconsider. We're struggling." I didn't reply. My sister wrote next. "You're being selfish and cruel. Mom and Dad are scared. They can't afford their bills. You have more than enough money. Why are you punishing them? This isn't who you are." I stared at that line. This isn't who you are. She was right. The person who gave everything and asked for nothing, that wasn't me anymore. The person who stayed quiet while her children were erased, that wasn't me anymore. I hit delete. A month went by. I heard from a cousin that my parents had to downsize. They sold the house I'd helped them keep for 7 years. They moved into a smaller place outside the city. My sister had to get a part-time job. I felt nothing. Not guilt, not satisfaction, just peace. Daniel and I started taking the boys on weekend trips. We went hiking. We visited museums in other cities. We stayed in little bed and breakfasts and explored new places. My sons started smiling more. They started speaking up. They started believing they mattered. And that was worth more than every dollar I'd ever given away. Then, 3 months after I cut contact, I got a text from an unknown number. It was my mother. "We know about the penthouse. We saw the article. You've been living like this the whole time and you let us struggle?" I stared at the message. The article. A local magazine had featured my home in their top 10 luxury penthouses list. There were photos, interviews, a piece about my career. I'd agreed to it months ago, back when I still thought I had to prove something. Now it didn't matter. But clearly it mattered to them. Another text came through. $5 million. You live in a $5 million penthouse, and you couldn't help your own family. You're disgusting. I blocked the number, but something shifted. Because now I realized they didn't miss me. They missed my money. They never called to ask how my sons were doing. They never apologized. They just wanted access again. And I was done giving it. That evening, I sat my boys down. I told them the truth. Not all of it, but enough. I told them that sometimes people treat you badly because they don't see your value. I told them that love isn't about what you give up. It's about what you protect. I told them that we were going to build a life where they always came first. My oldest looked at me with serious eyes. Are we not seeing Grandma anymore? I held his face gently. Not right now. Maybe not ever. But that's okay, because we have each other. He nodded. I like it better this way. My youngest climbed into my lap. Me too. Daniel stood in the doorway watching. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. We were all finally on the same page. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel vengeful. I just felt free. Free from obligation. Free from guilt. Free from trying to earn love that was never going to be given. I looked around my home, the one I built, the one I earned, and I felt proud. Not because it was expensive, but because it was mine. And my children were safe here. That was enough. 6 months passed. I didn't hear from my family again. Life moved forward, quietly, peacefully. My boys thrived. My oldest joined a robotics club. My youngest started piano lessons. We had dinner together every night. We talked, we laughed, we made plans. Daniel and I started hosting friends again. Our home, which used to feel like a secret I had to hide, became a place of joy. People asked me how I was doing. And for the first time in years, I could say, honestly, that I was happy. One afternoon, I ran into an old family friend at the grocery store. She looked uncomfortable the moment she saw me. Ava, she said carefully, I heard what happened with your parents. I nodded. I'm sure you did. She hesitated. They're saying you abandoned them. I placed a carton of milk in my cart. I didn't abandon them. I stopped funding them.
There's a difference. She looked down. Your sister is really struggling. She has a job now. That's good for her. The woman blinked. You're not going to help? I met her eyes. I helped for 15 years. I gave nearly $1 million. I co-signed loans. I paid bills. I covered emergencies that weren't emergencies. And the one time I needed them to show basic kindness to my children, they couldn't do it. Her mouth opened slightly. So no, I continued, my voice steady. I'm not going to help. I'm going to protect my sons, and I'm going to live my life. She didn't say anything else. I paid for my groceries and left. That night, Daniel asked me if I ever regretted it. We were sitting on the balcony again. The city lights flickered below. No, I said, not once. He smiled. Good. I leaned into him. I used to think family meant sacrifice, that if I gave enough, I'd be valued. But I wasn't teaching my kids love. I was teaching them to disappear. Daniel kissed the top of my head. You're teaching them something better now. I'm teaching them boundaries. You're teaching them strength. I closed my eyes. He was right. A year after I walked out of my parents' kitchen,
My oldest asked me a question. Mom, do you think Grandma ever thinks about us? We were sitting at the dining table, homework spread out between us. I paused. I think she thinks about what she lost. I don't know if she understands why. Do you miss her? I thought about it. I miss the idea of her. I miss what I wanted her to be, but I don't miss how she made me feel. He nodded slowly. I don't miss her either. It hurt to hear, but I understood. That's okay, I said. You're allowed to feel however you feel. He went back to his math worksheet, and I realized he was lighter too. We all were. I never sent another dollar. I never answered another call. I never explained myself again. I didn't owe anyone my pain. I didn't owe anyone my story. I only owed my children safety, and I gave it to them. Some people called me cold. Some said I was heartless. But the people who mattered, the ones who saw what I'd been through, they said I was brave. And maybe I was. Or maybe I was just tired. Tired of being small. Tired of being used. Tired of pretending it didn't hurt. Now, when I walk through my home, I feel steady. My sons run through the hallways. They play in the living room. They do homework at the kitchen island. This space is filled with love. Real love. The kind that doesn't come with conditions. The kind that doesn't require you to earn it. I built this life. Not for anyone else. For us. And when I look back now, I don't see loss. I see clarity. I see the woman I was. Silent, giving, invisible. And I see the woman I became. Strong, clear, protected. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need them to apologize. I just needed to stop. And I did. My family ignored my graduation. They used my income. They erased my children. And when I finally walked away, they noticed. Not because they missed me, but because the money stopped. That told me everything I needed to know. So I don't regret it. I don't look back. I look forward. To my sons. To my husband. To the life I built on my own terms. And that, finally, is enough.